Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We will continue with our course Investment and Portfolio Management. The course code is MGT 531 and the today's lecture is lecture number 26, and the reference book is the same as we have been doing. It was written by Christina in 2010 and it is about the investment portfolio and portfolio management. And first of all, we will do the summary of the last lecture. In the last lecture, we did the qualitative indicators. We discussed the groups of qualitative indicators, economic fundamentals, and predominance of the firm. And we also discussed two types of policies as far as the management of the firm is concerned. One is the aggressive policy, and other one is the conservative policy. Then we have the contents of today's lecture. The contents of today's lecture comprises of qualitative analysis, term structure of interest rates, normal yield curve, flat yield curve, and market segmentation theory, and investment in bond decision making process. And continuing with the qualitative analysis of the bonds market, at the macroeconomic level, the relationship between the interest rate and level of savings and investment and changes in government spending and taxes and foreign trade balance is identified. We can say that we have been doing the analysis as far as the macroeconomic variables are concerned, and we can say that we have to analyze the macroeconomic indicators and the situation and trends of macroeconomic indicators properly in order to assess the economic environment prevailing in the country, as well as economic environment prevailing in the different sectors of the economy and in different markets of the economy, and particularly here in the bonds market. We can say that we can use these indicators and these variables as a qualitative and in qualitative form in order to assess the situation in terms of the economic status of the and in terms of the trading of the bonds market. Macroeconomic factors with positive influence on the rate of interest from the investor in bonds position minus the increase in the rate of interest. They can be indicated with the help of different factors: increase in investment and decrease in saving level, increase in exports and decrease in the imports. Now, so we can say what happens, for example, if the rate of interest increases, the rate saving levels increases, however rate of investment falls, and opposite can be occurred for the vice versa. And therefore, that is why we can say that macroeconomic factors have positive effect on the rate of interest. And they have the increase in the government spending and decrease in the taxes. Macroeconomic factors with negative influence on the rate of interest from these investors in bonds position minus decrease in rate of interest. So what is the influence on the different economic variables? They have a decrease in the investment, increase in saving level, decrease in exports, increase in imports, decrease in government spending, and increase in taxes. And by observing and examining macroeconomic factors presented here, the investors can assess the situation in credit securities market and to revise his her portfolio. Therefore, we can say that looking at the relationship among different macroeconomic variables and rate of interest, the investor can decide that what he should plan as far as his portfolio is concerned in the credit markets and credit securities. For the interest rate forecasting purpose, such tools as the term structure of the interest rate is used. The term structure of the rate of interest is important in order to forecast, in order to predict the economic environment for the rate of interest. The term structure of interest rate is a yield curve displaying the relationship between spot rates of zero coupon securities and their term to maturity. And we can say that what is the term structure of interest rate? Basically, it indicates a association or link between on the spot zero coupon rate and the terms to maturity. The resulting curve allows an interest rate pattern to be determined, and which can be used to explain movements and to forecast the interest rate. Therefore, when we are able to identify the relationship or association between the zero coupon securities and their term to maturity, we will be able to determine the pattern of the interest rate, that how the fluctuations or movements they occur in the rate of interest, and they determine the pattern of the rate of interest. Unfortunately, most bonds carry coupon So the term structure must be determined using the prices of these securities. And term structure are continuously changing. They changes because we are indicating that we describe that they indicate the relationship between zero coupon and time to maturity. Therefore, with respect to the time to maturity and the yield, they can follow a variable worth and variable values. And though the resulting yield curve is usually normal, it can be flat or inverted. And usually longer term interest rates are higher than the shorter term interest rates, and this is known as the normal yield curve. We can say that the shape of the yield curve follows the fluctuations in the term structure, and when we observe that the longer term rate of interest, they are higher than the shorter term rate of interest, and the yield curve is usually known as normal yield curve. A small or negligible difference between the short and long term interest rate is called a flat yield curve. And definitely between the long term rate of interest and short term rate of interest, there is no much difference, and there is no significant difference. Therefore we can say that there is a flat yield curve which indicate the situation or indicate the relationship between the short and long term rate of interest. When the difference between the long and short term interest rate is larger, the yield curve is said to be steep. So it follows a steep slope, or it follows steep relationship or the pattern when the difference between the short term rate of interest and long term rate of interest is larger and significant. And so in other words, we can say that smaller difference between the short and long term rate of interest are likely to follow a flat yield pattern. However, a larger difference and stronger difference between the and significant difference between the larger and the short term rate of interest is likely to adopt a steep shape. And the three main factors influence the yield curve. And what are these factors? The market forecast and expectations about the direction of changes in the rate of interest. So we can say that first important factor which forecast the market, which is the market forecast, that how we can predict the market, that what is the future behavior of the market, what is the future pattern of the market, and expectations that in which direction the interest rate is likely to change. Or in other words, we can say that when we can predict the market, that what pattern of fluctuation the interest rate is likely to change, or what pattern the interest rates the trend the interest rate fluctuations are likely to adopt, is the one important factor which is likely to influence or to affect the yield the curve shape. Second factor is presumable liquidity premium in the yield of the bond, that what we assume that the liquidity premium will be in the yield of the bond. This is another important factor which is likely to affect the shape of the changes in the rate of interest, which is likely to determine the shape of the yield curve. And third important factor is the market inefficiency, or the turn from the long term or short term cash flows and the short term or the long term cash flows. Therefore this is the market efficiency, or the turn from one type of cash flows to the other type of cash flows. For example, when the market is converted from long term cash flows into short term cash flows, and from short term cash flows into long term cash flows, this is another type of factor which is likely to influence the pattern of the yield curve or the shape of the yield curve. On the basis of these key factors, three interest rate term structure theories are developed to explain the shape of the yield curve. So we can say that we have, if we have these three factors, and we find that these three factors, they are likely to influence the pattern of the rate of interest, and they are likely to determine the pattern and the trends in the fluctuations of the rate of return. So we can and rate of interest. We can say that we have three theories basically which are linked with the interest rate term structure, and they are basically developed to explain, and they are formulated to explain the shape of the yield curve, that what pattern or what shape the yield curve is likely to adopt. What is first theory? The first theory is the market expectation theory, which states that since short-term bonds can be combined for the same time period as a longer-term bonds. And the first expectation theory states that short-term bonds they can be combined with the longer-term bonds at the same time, and the total interest rate earned should be equivalent given the efficiency of the market. And we can say that the rate of interest, which is if for the short term and the long term at the same time, they can be equivalent to each other. But it depends upon the efficiency of the market, that whether the market is working efficiently and whether it is not working efficiently. And definitely we know that when we talk about the efficiency of the market, we find that as far as the efficiency is concerned, we are concerned with the optimization of the decision of the investor, and during in the current environment or in the light of the current variables behavior. And we want to basically minimize the rate of interest, and we want to maximize our outcome or the level of profit. The chance for arbitrage speculators using opportunities to make money. Another important variable which is likely to affect the yield curve with the help of shape of yield curve with the help of market expectation theory is besides the total interest rate equivalence between the short term and long term rate of interest is the speculators behavior, and what are the chance for them for the arbitrage. And definitely they want to make money, and they are always observing and looking for the opportunities when they can earn maximum level of the money, and they try to invest when the prices are at low level, and when they bear the minimum cost, and they are likely to sell there whenever they find maximum outcome or maximum profit, and immediately they undertake their decisions, and they do not wait for a long time period. According to this theory, yield to maturity for the 5 years bond is simply the average of 1 year yield to maturity during next 5 years. And on average, we can say that the 1 year yield maturity during next 5 years is for those bonds who are having the maturity equal to 5 years. And mathematically, the yield curve can be used to predict interest rate at the future dates. So what is the objective of the yield curve mathematically? And we know the yield curve basically indicates what the yield will be to the investor of the bonds or to the buyer of the bonds, and what possible outcome the buyers of the bonds can have out of their investment or out of their purchases of the bonds. And what mathematics tells us that if we calculate the yield mathematically, so we can say that the pattern of the yield or the curve for the yield can basically help the investor to forecast the rate of interest at the future dates, that what the rate of interest is going to be or is happening to be, is appearing to be in the future time period. In simple words, we can say basically yield curve indicates us the level of the interest rate or the trends of interest rate which we can observe, and which can emerge during the next time period or future time periods. And in the light of the rate of interest or the trends which the rate of interest is following, the investors they can make their decisions at the current time period, at the present time period, and in other words, we can say that they can adopt their pattern or the policy accordingly about their portfolio investment. For example, if they find that it is cheaper for them to purchase the bonds, they will decide to purchase, and if they find it expensive at that particular time to purchase the bonds, and they will not purchase, rather they would sell. Therefore, we can say that yield curve is a sort of the guideline to the investors and to the purchasers of the bonds, and to make their decision optimum in order to choose their portfolio holdings. Second important factor is known as liquidity preference theory. And what is liquidity preference theory? And liquidity preference theory states that the profile of the yield curve depends on the liquidity premium. And we know that the concept of liquidity we have done so many times in the previous lectures, and we know that the liquidity is too much important whether it is the investment in physical terms or it is investment in the financial terms. And we know that the liquidity is an important concept to make the transactions immediately, and it basically helps the investors to minimize their time cost as well, and they make their payments for repayment of the loan using the liquidity. They use the liquidity premiums in order to distribute the profit and to undertake the other transactions which they are required to make. Therefore, liquidity preference theory indicates, as the name of the preference theory is telling us or is indicating, we can say that the profile of the yield curve depends upon the liquidity premium, that what the liquidity premium investor or buyer of the bond is likely to yield. So what is the profile of the yield curve? And profile of the yield curve can help the investor to find out the pattern of the liquidity premium which he is likely to have for the future time period by investing a particular bond or by purchasing particular bond for the decided maturity time. If the investor does not consider short-term and long-term bonds as the good substitute for the investment. Another important feature which basically determine the profile of the yield curve with the help of liquidity preference theory is that if the investor does not think that the short-term and long-term bonds are the good substitutes for investment, that they do not think that short-term bond investment in the short-term bond is good to replace the long-term bonds investment, or the investment in the long-term bonds is good to replace the short-term bonds investment. So this is we can say that profile of the yield curve is important, and they will find it beneficial for them to have the liquidity premium in order to undertake their transactions, or in order to fulfill their requirements in time. And the investor may require the different yields to maturity, and similar to the stocks with high and low beta. And definitely we can say that beta slope indicates the slope of the curve, and slope of the regression line, it indicates the slope of the equation which we are doing or we are analyzing. So we can say that basically the yield to slope, yield to the maturity is basically determined by the value of the beta, whether the beta is having high value or it is occupying low value. And it will tell us for the particular stock or in relevance to the particular stock. So we can say that that the purchase of particular stock, how the yield to maturity is yield to maturity and overall yield to maturity is responsive and towards the purchase of particular stock, purchase of particular bonds. And if the value of the beta is high, so we can say that the purchase of that particular bond is having finds a good response of the yield to maturity and is likely to affect the yield to maturity of the investor to greater extent. If the value of the beta is small, and we can say that the yield to maturity is likely to be less affected by the purchase of particular bond. For example, if we can define the situation over here, and we can say कि हमारा जो है dependent variable is the yield to maturity. Yield is the dependent variable, and we can say that alpha plus beta, or for example we have particular type of the bond जिसको हमने x से indicate किया है, और इसकी जो yield to maturity है या जो life है इसकी for 5 years की है. और if we say that beta की value जो होती है वो larger होती है, तो we can say that yield to maturity is very much responsive to this particular bond x जिसको हमने कहा है. और in other words we can say that purchase of this particular bond or investment in particular bond by the investor is likely to increase the yield to maturity by a greater extent and by greater magnitude. और अगर इसकी वैल्यू जो होती है बीटा की स्मॉलर है, अगर हम कहते हैं कि बीटा इज ऑक्यूपाइंग लो वैल्यू, तो लो वैल्यू का मतलब ये है this beta is not very much responsive to the yield to maturity. या in other words we can say कि ये जो bond है इसकी nature ऐसी है कि it is not having affecting the yield to maturity to greater extent. So in other words, in simple words, we can say that the purchase of this particular type of bond, this particular nature of bond is not very much beneficial for the investor, is not very much good for the investor. Therefore we can say that that this can tells us that what the investor should do and what the investor should not do. If we can say that at same time, if the investor is having more than one bond in his portfolio, and what is the yield to maturity? It is alpha plus beta. For example, we can say beta x or plus gamma z. So we can say that we have two types of bonds which the investor is having in his or firm is having in his portfolio. One is x और इसकी जो life है is equal to let's say 5 years, और जो z है इसकी जो life है, ये time to maturity है, वो for example जो है वो 3 years है. और we assume जो बीटा है, बीटा की वैल्यू जो है वो larger है, and we can say that gamma जो है another slope, and because beta and gamma, they are determining the rate of change in this model, and they are determining the change in yield with respect to change in x, and इसकी वैल्यू जो है वो small है. So what is the implication? Here we can indicate the rate of change. What is the rate of change? तो रेट ऑफ चेंज इन दोनों में इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा यील्ड एंड डिवाइडेड बाय डेल्टा एक्स. दिस इंडिकेट द रेट ऑफ चेंज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एक्स, और then another rate of change is equal to delta yield and with respect to delta z, और ये हमें इंडिकेट करता है रेट ऑफ चेंज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रेट ऑफ चेंज इन एक्स विद टू द चेंज इन yield. तो इसको हम कहते हैं, it can be indicated by beta, this can be indicated by gamma. अब ये दोनों, और इसकी वैल्यू हमने कहा है कि लार्जर है, इसकी वैल्यू जो है gamma की वैल्यू जो है वो स्मॉल है. तो what these are indicating, both are indicating the slope, both are indicating the rate of change of the yield to maturity. और अगर हम कहते हैं कि let's say if the shape of the curve is like this, कि along vertical axis we have yield to maturity. For example, we can say that we have curve like this. Along vertical axis we have yield to maturity, and along horizontal axis we have the bonds, nature of the bonds which we are occupying in our portfolio, and the maturity time or life to the life of the bonds. And we can say, let's say x is here, and we can say there is positive relationship. If we increase the for example the investment in the x, so yield to maturity is increasing, they are having positive relationship, और इसका जो है वैल्यू भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. जैसे अगर हम x को इंक्रीज करते हैं तो y जो है वो यील्ड जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा इंक्रीज कर रही है. x को हमने इतना इंक्रीज किया तो हमारी यील्ड टू y जो है वो चेंज इन y जो है वो बहुत इंक्रीज कर रही है, और शेप ऑफ द कर्व इज इंडिकेटिंग बेसिकली दिस. ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर हम कहते हैं हियर वी हैव जी, क्योंकि हमने कहा है कि जी की वैल्यू जो है वो स्मॉल है, अलोंग वर्टिकल एक्सिस वी हैव अगेन यील्ड टू मैच्योरिटी, और कर्व की शेप जो है वो ऐसी है. तो वी कैन से जब हम बहुत ज़्यादा इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं एक्स को, तो इसका यील्ड टू मैच्योरिटी इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं है, और वी कैन से दैट यील्ड टू मैच्योरिटी इज नॉट टू मच रिस्पॉन्सिव to the investment in the x, to the investment in z. So we can say here the rate of change is larger along this axis. स्लोप जो है वो ज़्यादा स्टीप स्लोप को इंडिकेट कर रही है, और यहाँ पे फ्लैट स्लोप को इंडिकेट कर रही है. here the slope is flat, rate of change is smaller along this, and rate of change is greater along the first diagram, which is the diagram A, and smaller along the diagram B. So we can say diagram A, the investment in the bonds which is indicated by the X bond is likely to give more yield to the investor rather than the Z. Therefore the investor should decide to invest in the Z rather than invest in the X rather than in the Z. And if we continue with our discussion on the yield to maturity, we can say the liquidity. Thus, the liquidity preference theory states that the yield curve of the interest term structure depends not only on the market expectation but also upon the spread of the liquidity premium between shorter term and the longer term. So we can say that the liquidity, according to liquidity preference theory, the yield curve of the term structure, interest rate term structure depends upon the market expectation that in what direction the rate of interest is going in the future time period, whether it is likely to increase in the future time period or it is likely to decrease in the future time period. Another important concept which we have discussed here is liquidity premium between the shorter and longer term bonds. It is also important in order to influence the total yield to the maturity. Third important segment is market segmentation theory, and this component is basically, and this theory is based on the understanding of the market inefficiency in defining the prices of the bonds. If we have what the market efficiency theory tells us, it tells us that we should be able to understand, or the investor should be able to understand, that whether the market is efficient in defining the prices of the bonds, or it is inefficient in defining the prices of the bonds. That according to this theory, we can say that the market should be able to properly define, or should make the concept of prices of the bonds clear. What are the prices and how they changes, and what is the return as far as the prices are concerned, how we can what we can get out of the purchase of the sale of the bonds, and what is the objective of the buying of the bonds. So whether the market is efficient enough to define the prices of the bonds, or it is inefficient still to make the concept of the prices of the bonds clear. And definitely we know that the prices of the bonds, and this theory indicates that each segment in the bonds market identified on the basis of yield to maturity of the bonds could be treated as independent segment from the others, and all the segment of and all the factors which are affecting the yield to maturity, they should be taken as independent segment, and should be taken and considered as independent variable and independent factor which is likely to affect the yield to maturity. Continuing with our discussion, we can say that the segments about which we are talking, that they should clearly taken as independent variable, because they are affecting the yield to maturity and variable. And if we want to analyze the model and want to formulate mathematical model for the yield to maturity and different forms of the assets or the bonds we are keeping in our portfolio, then every segment or every factor in the market which is likely to affect the left hand side variable should be taken as and should be treated as independent variable. These segments are represented by different groups of the investors which are resolute about the necessity to invest in the bonds with this particular yield to maturity. And definitely investors, they can be individual, they can work in the form of the groups, and they can work they can invest, or they can be the purchaser of the bonds as a firm. These different group of the investors, for example banks, insurance companies, non-financial firms, individuals, need to employ their funds for specific time period, and all these are different segments, other segments, as for besides having the different types of the bonds in our portfolio which are likely to affect the yield to maturity. We can say we have the segmentation theory indicate that we have different segment of the market which and what are the segments? The segments are basically those who are investors and buyers of the bonds, and they can be individual as well as they can be the buyer or investor in the institutional form. They can be group of the people, they can be in the form of the firm or the group of the investors or the insurance companies, and all they affect the bonds market with reference to the purchase of the bonds and sale of the bonds. Hence a preference for long term or short term bonds which is reflected in the shape of the yield curve. And we can say that all these groups and investors they have their own preferences as far as the investment or purchase of short-term bonds is concerned, or purchase or the sale of long-term bonds is concerned, and we can say that they are likely to affect the shape of the yield curve. An inverted curve can be seen to reflect a definite investor preference for longer term bonds, and we can say that when we talk about the longer term bonds, so an inverted curve can be indicated, and this inverted curve indicate that up to some extent, when the individual investor or the institution or the corporation or the group of investors, they continue to invest in a particular type of bond, and their yield to maturity is likely to increase, or we can say that they are likely to affect the yield to maturity in a positive sense, but after a particular specific point or peak point, the yield to maturity start declining, because they will no more find any benefit out of this investment, and different factor can emerge and can be apparent as far as this inversion of the curve is indicated, that what are those factors and how they are affecting the shape of the yield curve. And profile of the term structure will depend not on the market expectations or risk premium, but also because of the changes in the direction of cash flow, similar to swing effect, and this is known as swing effect also. So what the profile of the term structure will be, we can say it depends upon different things and different expectations. It depends upon the market expectations about the future fluctuations in the rate of return or future fluctuations of the rate of interest, and depends upon the risk premium, that what is the risk premium that the investor they are likely to get, and also depends upon the changes in the direction of the cash flows, that in what direction the cash flows are likely to change and they are likely to fluctuate. And this is a sort of the swing effect, because sometimes in the direction of the cash flow they show upward trend and upward turn, and at some other time the direction of cash flow they can indicate downturn, and reason can be that different factors prevailing in the bonds market, prevailing in the in the economy, and prevailing in the different sectors, they are likely to affect the cash flows through the supply of the bonds and demand for the bonds. Investors in the bonds often use yield curve in making investment decision. And we can say that yield curves are very much important. They provide a guideline in order to make the investors to undertake their decisions, in order to enable the investors to undertake proper decisions as far as their decision making is concerned for the items and for the assets to be purchased for their portfolio holdings and for their setup portfolio. Analyzing the changes in yield curve over the time provide the investors with information about future rate of interest movements and how they can affect price behavior and comparative returns. This is another, therefore we can say that their purchase and sale and of the investor is based on the proper information about the current situation prevailing in the bonds market, as well as about the future fluctuations in the rate of interest in the bonds market, that what type of fluctuation they are likely to occur in the future time period for the rate of interest, and how they can affect the behavior of the prices, that how they are likely to affect the prices of the bonds to change, and how the returns, comparative returns analysis can be made, that and definitely the current fluctuations in the economic environment in the prevailing in the bonds market through the supply and of the bonds and demand for the bonds, depending upon the nature of the different bonds as well as the future fluctuations in the rate of interest, they enable the investors to make the comparison of the returns of different bonds and the time to maturity and their yield and the level of the risk and the risk premium attached, and so that the investor will be able to undertake their proper decision for their portfolios in the light of the discussion, in the light of the analysis which they have made. For example, if the yield curve begins to rise sharply, it usually means that the inflation is growing or it's expected to grow in the nearest future. And in this case, what shape of the again we have this we discussed that the yield curve, shape of the yield curve, that in which direction yield curve is moving, and what is the slope of the yield curve. It is very much important to guide the investors to decide about their portfolios, because if the yield curve is likely to have positive slope, so we can say it shows that the price is likely to increase and is likely to grow. And if we say that it is inverted curve, so we can say after reaching some peak point and is likely to providing a maximum yield to the investor, it shows a negative downturn, which basically has a number of other factors prevailing and working behind its shape. In this case, investor can expect that interest rate will rise also, and investors can in the light of, we can say, in the light of the fluctuations and in the of the yield curve, and in the light of the turns in the yield curve, the investors, they can have a guideline that whether the interest rate will increase or it will go down, and they can make their decisions accordingly. Under these conditions, the active investors will turn to short or immediate maturities. We can say when they find that the yield is likely to increase and is likely to grow in the near future, it is quite possible that those who are active in making their decisions and those who can be known as active investors or purchasers of bonds, they will like and they will prefer to purchase the bonds which are likely to have the short-term maturity and short-term life. And because the reason is that they will invest now and for the short time period, and they will be likely to sell their bonds when the time to maturity is end, and when the bonds become mature, and in order to reap the immediate profit. And rather than fixing their money for a long time period, they want to have the immediate benefit from their investment, which this decision provides reasonable returns and minimize exposure to capital loss when the prices fall. So what we find here, we find that when the investors, they undertake this decision, that when they find a positive turn in the prices and in the yield curve, they decide to purchase a short-term bonds and short-term bonds and short-life bonds, and in order to earn a reasonable profit immediately. And basically their objective is to minimize the loss of the capital, and when the prices may go down or they may fall. Another example could be steep yield curve, and that the yield curve. Another example is that yield curve is very steep, that very small. We can say that small fluctuations in the investment level and small changes in the investment level, they are likely to bring large change in the yield level. And the small investment and for the short time period investment are likely to give the investor a significant amount of yield or significant magnitude of the yield. And definitely we can say, if this happens, so this may be positive outcome, and this may be the rational decision of the investor. And investors they are generally viewed as a sign of bullish market, and this type of market is known as sign of bullish market when the prices are likely to grow, and the investor, they take the decision to undertake immediate investment for the short time period, and they are likely to earn their immediate benefit out of their investment. And the curve may indicate, the yield curve may indicate a steep shape, and such type of market is known as sign of bullish market. Continuing with our discussion, we can say that for the aggressive investors in bonds, this profile of the yield curve can be signal to start moving into long-term bond segment. If we talk about the aggressive policy and aggressive management of the investor or firm or investing firm or investing corporation, so what is the attitude and possible decision of the aggressive investors in the bonds market? That is, from this they want to, looking at the profile of the yield curve and looking at the shape of the yield curve, they start moving their investment into long-term bonds. and they can convert their short-term investment into long-term segment. And although we may find that there may be a downfall in the prices of the bonds, but because they are adopting, such investors are adopting an aggressive policy, and they are likely to undertake certain risk in the hope of having higher returns, they may continue with the decision, and they may continue with the investment in the long-term bond segment. And flatter yield curve, what the flatter yield curve indicates, or what the flatter shape of the yield curve indicates, that contrary to the steeper yield curve, they reduce the incentive for the investing in long-term debt securities. And what is the reason? That when we have the flatter yield curve, we have to invest a lot in order to have the small level of the yield. So what is the reason? We can say that in this case the yield is basically not much more responsive to the investment in the long-term bonds. For example, investment in the long-term bonds is indicated along the vertical axis. These are the long-term bonds are the bonds having the long-term maturity. Along vertical axis we have the yield. So horizontal axis along we have the investment in the long-term and long-term bonds and long-term assets. Along vertical axis we have yield. If we have the flatter curve, if we have flatter curve like this, we find that our investors have to invest a lot, for example this much, in order to have a small yield. Or vertical change is indicating a change in the y. Here along horizontal axis we have change in x. So rate of change basically indicates the rate of change. What is rate of change? Is equal to delta y over delta x. We can say that it is the change in y resulting from change in x, that what is the response of the yield towards the investment in long-term bonds, which are indicated by change in x. So it shows that we have to invest a lot in order to bring a small change, or in order to have a small increase in our yield. Therefore we can say that we may avoid, or the investors have the less incentive, and due to having less incentive, maybe the investors may be reluctant to invest in the long-term bonds for the bonds having flatter yield. Decision making of investment in bonds and bond valuation. How the investors can undertake their decisions for the investment in bonds, and depending upon the valuation of the bonds. The selection of the bond type relevant for the investor and bond analysis are important component of the overall investment in bond decision making process. This basically indicates the decision making process, and we can say that the investor should be careful about the selection of the bonds, that what type of the bonds investor should select is important, and they should analyze the trade and analyze the trade environment properly prevailing in the bond market in order to undertake their decision in order to purchase the bonds, and in order to purchase the bond for having the some yield in the future. And a bond type is important because the type of the bond indicates the nature of the bond and yield to maturity, price of it, risk premium associated, rate of return associated, and what is the principal amount, and all these other things, they are relevant and associated with the type of the bond, and therefore it is important to keep into amount and to keep the type of the bonds into consideration in order to make the decision about the investment in the bonds. Continuing with the discussion, we can say that investment in bond decision making process, the selection of bonds type according to investors' goal, that how and that what is their goals and how they define their goals with respect to the selection of the type of the bonds in their portfolio holding, and expect what selection of the bonds, we can say selection of the type of the bonds is relevant to the expected income and the risk, and because they define their goals and what is the aim or objective of the investor as far as the investment in the bonds is concerned. Why they decide about the particular type of the bond, why they decide to purchase particular bond or one type of bond and they do not purchase another type of the bond, definitely they want to they stick to their objective of maximization and they stick to their objective of optimization. And we can say the investors have the optimizing behavior. They try to minimize their risk and they try to maximize their expected income. This is basically their goal, and their objective of undertaking any investment is lying behind their decision making as far as investment is concerned in terms of the bonds and in terms of the different types of bonds. And the second important is bond analysis, that they have to analyze the bonds properly and quantitatively as well as qualitatively. That is, bond the environment prevailing in the bond market, and in other words we can say that the trade prevailing in the bonds market, the nature of the bonds being traded in the market, they should be properly analyzed quantitatively as well as qualitatively. Therefore the investor can come to know that which type of bond he or she should purchase and which type of bond should not be purchased, and why he or she should purchase and keep one type of bond in their portfolio and should not decide to keep other type of bond in their portfolio. This is the bonds analysis, and we can say that analysis of the bonds market as far as the trade is concerned and economic environment and status is concerned, we can say provides a proper guideline to the investor to undertake their investment decisions in a proper way and to optimize their objective. Third is bond valuation. Okay, what is the bond valuation? So we can say that as a part of the analysis of the bond market, the investor, they can also evaluate the bond, that what type of bond they are more valuable to the investor, they are likely to provide more benefit to the investor and more premium to the investor with respect to different aspects of the bond, with respect to the time to maturity, the principal amount paid, the risk premium paid, the rate of return, and the number of times the particular bond they have been traded in the market and they have been undertaken in the purchase and sale by the investors to keep them in their portfolio. Fourth important point is investment decision making, and investment decision making is, we know that it is very much important tool and instrument to optimize the behavior, to minimize the cost, whether it is real or physical investment or it is the investment in the financial market or different sub markets of the financial market. In the bond market, investment decisions are made more on the bond's yield than its prices basis. What is the important aspect to be analyzed here is that the purchases are decisions to keep particular type of the bonds and to purchase particular type of bonds for the portfolio are basically made on the yield of the bonds, but what level of yield they are giving to the investor and to the buyer than the prices of the yield. Continuing with the discussion, we can say that there are three widely used measures of yield, and what these measures are. The first measure is current yield. That what is the current yield and what is the current level of the earnings that any type of the bond or investment in the bond can give to the investor. Second is yield to maturity. What is yield to the maturity? That up to the maturity, what yield and what aggregate level of yield any investor is likely to have. Then is the yield to call. That what is the yield to call? All these three are the important measures of yield, with the help of which the individual investors can decide about his investment in terms of bonds, that what type, and can decide about, in the light of this discussion, in the light of the yield of different types, we can say that investor can make his line clear and can get a proper guideline what type of bond to purchase and what type of bonds not to purchase, to keep in their portfolio in order to be enabled to improve the economic status in the future time period. And if we, as far as the detail of this yield is concerned, we can say that current yield, which is indicated by or abbreviated by CY, is the simple measure of bonds return and has a limited application limited application because it measures only the interest return of the bonds. And what is the speciality of this? Because it indicates the interest return of the bonds at particular current time period. The interpretation of this measure to investor. The current yield, how we can interpret this measure to the investor is that current yield indicates the amount of current income a bond provides relative to the market price. That what is the amount of current income that bonds relevant to the market price can get. And this is important relationship between the current income that investor in the bond is likely to have with reference to the market price of the bond. And with the help of this, he can he or she can take a guideline as far as his portfolio holding is concerned. And CY is estimated using the formula CY, which is known as current yield is equal to I over PM, where I stands for annual interest of the bond. That what is the annual rate of interest for the purchase of the bond, and PM is the current market price of the bond. And what is the current market price of the bond? So we can say that current yield basically gives us the ratio between the annual rate of interest of the bond or the rate of interest that the individual can get for the purchase of the bond, and towards the current market price of the bond. What is the relationship between these two variables? Then second important type of the yield, which is likely to provide the guideline to the investor whether to purchase any particular type of bond or not to purchase any particular type of bond, is yield to maturity. It is abbreviated by YTM. Therefore, we can say YTM stands for yield to maturity. This is the most important and widely used measure of the bond returns and key measure in bond valuation process. So we can say this is another important type of the bond yield, which indicate and which measures the returns of the bond. That what type of the returns, what level of the returns the investor is likely to earn and is likely to have out of the investment. And this key measure is and definitely can also learn about the returns through the bond valuation process as far as yield to maturity is concerned. And YTM is the fully compounded rate of return earned by an investor in bond over the life of the security, including the interest income and the price appreciation. So we can say basically YTM indicates the compounded rate of return for the life of the for the bond which the investor is likely to have. So it is aggregate computed rate of return which the investor can earn from the purchase of this particular type of bond, and this also include the income in terms of the rate of interest on the purchase of the bond and the price appreciation, that how much there has been increase in the prices of the bonds with over the time period of the maturity of this particular bond for which it is held. YTM is also known as the promised yield to maturity. So it can be known as promised yield to maturity. That is basically the amount which is promised to the investor to get for the yield to maturity. Yield to maturity can be calculated as an internal rate of return or bond or the discount rate. So it is an internal rate of return or the discount rate for which the maturity can be discounted, which equalizes present value of the future cash flows of the bond to its current market prices. So we can say when we have any particular type of the bond and we analyzes the yield to maturity for the specific lifetime of the bond, we can get the future period and the overall level of the income from the purchase of this particular type of the bond, and we can calculate the present value of that of those future cash flows or in other words we can say that we can calculate the present value of those future rate of returns on the particular bond, and when we calculate this we find that we can find that the present value of the future rate of return of this particular bond is equal to the current market price or current value of the bond. What it tells us here that how we can calculate. We can say that the present value of this particular type of bond is equal to the current market price of this bond. और how we can indicate the market price को हम कैसे indicate कर सकते हैं? We can say that price MKT is the market price of the bond at the current time period, or present value of the bond can be calculated from the function of the future funds. कि future funds जो है या future resources जो उसको मिलते हैं after a certain time period, और अगर इसकी जो लाइफ है या टाइम है इज इक्वल टू 5 ईयर, 5 सालों के बराबर है, तो हम उसके रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट रिटर्न्स को 5 साल से मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं और व्हाट वी गेट टोटल एग्रीगेट टोटल अमाउंट आफ्टर द 5 years वी कैन कैलकुलेट द इट फॉर द 2 days वैल्यू कि इसकी 2 days वैल्यू क्या होगी और वी फाइंड एंड वी कम टू नो दैट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ द बॉन्ड is equal to current market price, and we can say that investor will take his decision accordingly on the basis of this present value of the future resources that can be obtained from this particular type of the bonds. Thus the yield to maturity may not always be appropriate measure of the value. Instead, the efficient of the bond called away prior to maturity must be estimated. So what we say that yield to call is another important type of the bonds which are likely to give more yield to the investor, and we can say that the yield to maturity is not everything and are not appropriate measure that we should buy a bond and then we keep it up to its maturity time until the bond matures, and so that we can get something out of it. Rather, we have another type which is known as yield to call bonds. They can be indicated by YTC, and YTC measures the yield on the bond if the issues remain outstanding not to maturity but rather until its specified call date. So we can say that yield to maturity to call indicate that before the completion of the maturity time period of any bond we can convert or we can transfer bonds from one investor to the other, or we can convert from one type of bond to the other type of bond in order to satisfy our current satisfaction or preferences. YTC can be calculated similar to YTM as an internal rate of return of the bond. So we can say that the pattern of the calculation of YTM and YTC, that yield to call and yield to maturity, they are of similar type. Are the discount rate which equalizes present value of the future cash flows of the bond to its current market value. So we can say that Y2C can be calculated as similar to YTM, or in other words we can say it is discount rate which can be equalizes to the present value of future cash flows of any bond's market price, current market price. And this was the 2 days lecture, and we can continue with our summary at the end of the lecture. And that what we have done in 2 days lecture, we did the qualitative analysis and the term structure and normal and flat yield curve, segmentation theory, and the bond decision making process. As far as qualitative analysis is concerned, we discussed that we have to take into account the different macroeconomic variables, and qualitatively also beside quantitatively we should also take their qualitative nature and study their qualitative nature in order to assess the situation, or in order to study the situation, in order to analyze the situation prevailing in the particular bonds market as far as the trade of the different bonds is concerned. And therefore we can come to know about the environment prevailing in the bonds market as far as purchase and sale and supply and demand of the bonds is concerned. Then we said the term structure of the interest rate is important. Basically gives a yield curve which display and indicates the relationship between the zero coupon securities and their term to maturity. And we can say that we can also elaborate our discussion with the help of normal yield curve, and which basically indicates the longer term rate of interest. They have higher returns than the shorter term rate of interest. And these yield curve, they are normal in shape, but they can be flatter or inverted. And then we say that what are the flatter we discussed that what are the flat yield curve when the difference between the short and long term interest rate is very small. The curves indicate the flat term yield curve. And when the difference between the long term and short term interest rate is very large, we can say the curves are they are of steeper nature, and we have different factors which influence the yield curve and the shape of yield curve. They are the forecast and expectations about the directions of the fluctuations in the future rate of interest, and also liquidity premium in the yield of the bond, that what can be the liquidity premium and in terms of the yield of the bonds. And then we we discussed different theories as far as the interest rate of the term structure are concerned in order to explain the shape of the yield curve, and we discussed that we have three different theories. The one theory is known as market expectation theory, which states that that these short-term bonds can be combined for the same time period as the long-term bonds, and then we have the liquidity preference theory, which states that the profile of yield curve depend upon the liquidity premium. That liquidity premium is another important factor which is required to determine the profile of the yield curve. And then we have the market segmentation theory, which tells us that understanding of market efficiency or inefficiency in defining the prices of bond, that we should be able to define the prices of bond properly. We can say that market is efficient, otherwise inefficient. And we can say that there are different groups of the investors who are. Third theory is about market segmentation theory, which if we continue the discussion with this, we can say that there are different type of investors which are functioning in the bond market. They are say single investors, they are in the form of the group, they are corporations, and they are the banks also, and they need to employ their funds for a specific time period. And there may be preference for the longer term bonds and short term bonds, which reflect the shape of the yield curve. And we can say that inverted curve can be seen to reflect definite investor preferences. Inverted curve shape of the yield curve indicates the preferences of the investors as for the long term bonds, that is, they would be likely to invest in the long term bonds rather than the short term bonds. In the light of this discussion, the investors, they can decide about their portfolio holdings, that which type of bonds they should keep in the portfolio holdings and which not to be keep. And they on the course of the discussion, they take into account the future value of the rate of interest with reference to different bonds, and they analyze the behavior of the prices, and they also undertake the comparative return, that what type of returns are coming up out of the different types of the investments from the different types of the bonds. And we can say if the investor find that the yield curve is likely to show positive slope, we can say that the yield is likely to increase for any particular type of the bond, so they will likely to invest, and they will likely to purchase that bond in particular. And we can say also that yield curve could be of steep shape, and they are also indicate that there are signs of the bullish market. And what the aggressive investors do, they besides the short term investment, they are likely to undertake the long term bonds, and they were likely to purchase the long term bonds. And then we find that the bond valuation, what is the bond valuation, and how we can make our decisions with respect to investment in bonds on the basis of the bonds valuation. And we can say that the investor, they should take into account the type of the bonds at the time of the selection of the bonds, and so that they can have the proper decision about this. And as far as the investment process in the bond decision is concerned, we can say that selection of bonds is very much important, and the investor at the same time should take into account the expected income and the level of risk associated, and bond analysis should be made properly. Bond valuation is important, investment decision is important, and in the bonds market, investment decisions are made on the bond yield than on the bond prices. Then we can say that the current yield to maturity is important aspect, yield to maturity is important aspect, yield to call is important aspect in order to analyze the situation as far as the trade in bonds market is concerned, or as far as the quantity of the bonds supplied and demanded is concerned, and their respective price fluctuations is concerned. Therefore, we can say that in the discussion of with reference to the discussion of these yields, investors, they can decide about which bond they should purchase, or in which type of bond they should invest their money, or which type of bond should not be purchased and should be avoided in order to have maximum outcome of their portfolio holdings. And this was today's lecture number 26, and I hope you will be able to understand the concepts in the light of the discussion, in the light of the slides we have presented here, and in the light of the reading material that we have referred for the study. Take care of yourself and see you next lecture, and take care of your studies also. Allah Hafiz.